Okay, hi Year 8. I'm going to show you how to draw a bottle with a biro that looks at reflection. Okay, so all you need is your book, a biro in any colour you want. I've got a pink one here just because it was to hand. And you need a bottle with some water in it. And ideally, if you have one that has a straw in there, that would be nice, or you can just put an object on the inside of the bottle. Okay, so in the video you won't be able to see where my bottle is, but I'm just going to place my bottle somewhere at an angle which looks quite interesting. I'm going to try and get it to an angle that looks similar to the one in this drawing, because this drawing here is the same bottle. I'm using the same bottle as this one in this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to try and get it to a similar angle, and I'm going to put the top up as well. Okay, so the reason why I want to show you how to draw this is because when I saw your pencil drawings of objects in a reflection, I was thinking that you could focus a little bit more on the idea of an ellipse and how to actually draw a nice reflection in the water. So you can see that in this over here, hopefully you can see it. I've used my biro to create some swirling marks from the water, and I've got the tone at the top, which is from the bottle. But yeah, I'm going to show you how to do things like this. And the reason why I want you to use a biro is because it's just a different method of, not a different method, it's just a different medium which you can use to create quite nice drawings. And also by using a biro, you're not so focused on making sure that your drawing is perfectly correct, because obviously you can make mistakes when using biros and you can't erase them. So what I want you to do when doing this drawing, I want you to go straight in with a biro, and I don't want you to use a pencil at all when you're doing this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to start off by drawing the top of my bottle. So I'm going to start off by creating the side that I can see of my bottle, where it's coming down here. So I'm going to try and draw that first. And I'm thinking about the scale. Now, what is an ellipse? As a reminder, when we draw ellipses, it's basically where we see circles when they start to disappear. Okay, so when you are looking at an object straight on, you do not see the full top of the circle and the sides of the object. So if you grab a glass or a bowl or anything that has a circle, if you point it towards you, first of all, you will see the circle. But as you start moving that object away from you, you start to see less of the full circle and you start to see more of just the edges. And that is what we call an ellipse. Okay, ellipse, if you want to look it up. And what happens is that instead of a circle, you start getting more of a squashed oval shape. And that's what we need to focus on when we're doing the drawing of our bottle or of our object, because most of these objects will have a circle at the top. It will be circular at the top of it. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to start off, like I said, by drawing the lid, and you need to think about the scale that you're drawing, of your drawing, sorry. So you can see that my bottle's lid is starting to take shape. Now remember that lines should be parallel. So they should be the same shape as one another, and they should be going in the same kind of curvature. So one shouldn't be straight and one shouldn't be curled. Okay, so this is the bottom of my bottle. Okay, you can't see it in the video, This is the bottom of my video. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this part here. Okay, so this is the whole area that I'm drawing. You can hopefully see that. So I'm going to start off by looking at where does my curve go in my bottle, and it kind of goes back like this. Okay, and as you can see in my drawing, I'm keep on going over some lines just because I'm trying to get rid of lines that I've accidentally drawn because those weren't correct. I'm going to draw my second. And remember that you are focusing on all of the lines that you can see in your drawing. Now this line here that I'm drawing, it disappears and I can't see it. So I need to draw it like that I can't see it. You're doing observational drawings, okay? And that is, as we know, drawing from observation. So drawing from what you can see, okay? This is the straw or the lid or wherever you suck up the water from. I'm going to draw that. If you want, you can compare this drawing to the picture that I've put up on Firefly as well, so you can see how what I was drawing, the angle from where I was drawing it from, and what I've actually drawn. Okay, now this line here, which has disappeared, I see it come back out from behind the straw, and it goes straight up and around, and it meets with this line here. And then this one, I've got another line coming here, like this, and then that line disappears. Okay, now this forms the inside of the handle which is on my bottle. And again, I'm just drawing all of the lines that I can see. There's nothing special here. These are just all of the lines that I can see that are on my bottle. Where are those lines going? Where are they ending? I'm not making up anything. You see another line which comes from here and it actually goes behind like this. Okay, and then I can see another line here which goes to the it kind of sticks out. So this is like the handle of my bottle. This goes like this, and this area here is where, if that lid was down, is where that lid would go. Okay, so I've got my basic shape of my lid here. Now using my pen I can add tone. So this, because this is the inside of my bottle, it's going to be darker. So I can just use my Biro to add tone. Now other ways that you can add tone, so it's think back to when you did the Eric Revilius work last term, and I left feedback saying you can add tone, further tone, by using crosshatch or hatching techniques. If you hatch your pen, so hatching is like this, like crosshatch. Remember, think back to mark making in year 7. So when you go over your pen like that, it can create further depth and further tone to your image. Okay, so use that to your advantage when adding tone, especially in dark areas. Okay, so that's the inside of my bottle. And then because this is the top side, I can actually see that this is way lighter in tone. So I'll add fewer marks. Now, I don't know if you can clearly see on that, but this area here, because I've just gone over it in one direction with my pen, the tone here has been created a lot lighter than the one that I've created on the inside by using cross-hatching technique. Because in the crosshatch, I'm layering the biro on top of one another, whereas with this, I'm not. I'm just going in one direction. Oh, sorry, I've got a line there. And I am creating depth by varying either the pressure of how much pressure I'm putting on my biro or the cross-hatching technique. Am I using cross-hatching or am I just going in one direction? Okay, and you can carry that on. Okay, so you can see here, if I add cross-hatching here, the tone is quite dark. Okay, and to be fair, it's quite darker tone in that area. And if I just use a line like so, the tone is lighter. Okay, so you can carry that on. I'm not going to finish that off. Now it's the bottle. So I'm going to draw the shape of my bottle and bear in mind the scale of what you're drawing. Okay, I have an A5 sketch pad here. You lot have A4. So you're going to draw your bottle filling up the whole page. Okay, so I see that my bottle comes down, as all bottles will. And then the line at the bottom here matches the line which is at the top here. Okay, but my bottle does actually have a bit, it got melted in Miss Saunders, the FT's dishwasher. So my bottle actually has a bit of a curve down at the bottom here where it's been melted, but the rest of it matches that top curve. So I'm going to draw that. Like so. All right. Then I'm going to draw my straw. So actually, I'm going to draw the waterline. So my waterline comes to about here. And now this is where you draw your ellipse. Because my bottle is round, I'm not just going to draw a round circle of the water. When I'm looking from the angle that I'm looking at my bottle at, I can see an ellipse. Now I'm going to draw my front kind of waterline, and then I'm going to draw the ellipse at the back, almost like you're drawing an eye inside of your bottle, like this. Now my ellipse is kind of is almost wider because of the angle where I'm looking at it from. Yours might be smaller, yours might be even bigger than this. So just look at where is this ellipse. Don't just draw a circle because you think that it is a circle. Okay, draw again. I've said this multiple times. Draw what you can see happening inside of the water and on your bottle. Draw from observation. Don't draw from your mind. Oh, I've forgotten a line here on my bottle. My bottle kind of has an indent here, which goes down and it stops like this. I know that this is going to be darker. That's on the outside of the bottle. Okay, now I'm going to draw the straw. Now what I noticed that some of you did is when you drew your object in the water, you didn't draw its reflection. Sorry, not its reflection. You didn't draw its distortion in the water. Because you'll notice that when you put objects in the water, they distort. And in the water, they look larger and they actually come away from where your original top line of the object was. So you can see here, this straw is not in the water, but this straw is. So can you see how it's slightly shifted to the side and how it is larger than the straw at the top? And my straw kind of bends like this. Okay, that is what I want to see. I want to see that distortion of the straw in the water. Okay, some of you, when you did your homework last week, you drew the object going just straight in and drawing it the same, going all the way down into the water. But if you actually look properly, it doesn't do that. Okay, now all you have to do is start drawing. Remember, if you use the C kind of motion like this, adding shade like this, it makes the object look 3D. And obviously the object inside of our water is 3D. So you can start adding details like this on your straw to make it look 3D. And then with the water, because your water will have kind of tone inside of it because of where the light is hitting it, you can just draw your water lines like this. So if you just use your biro, again in this kind of C motion, but putting lighter pressure onto it, because just like a pencil, if you put lighter pressure on a biro, less ink will come out and your tone will be lighter. You can add tone to your water like this. Now the top, because obviously our water goes round in a circle, be careful of where you're adding your mark. So look, I'm doing large C's coming like this, but I'm keeping in line with that ellipse shape. Like so. Okay, so you're just adding add less biro marks where you need to, because around the edge over here I've got a little bit more highlight, so I'm not going over that so much, but in the middle and along the side over here it's darker. Right, and then here you can add tone to your bottle, going down straight, so we know that this is the bottle, this isn't in water. Like so. And if you just carry on drawing, using shading techniques, using your hand movements, you can change the way that the water looks, but you'll end up with a drawing, hopefully, that looks something like this, or even better. Okay, now I've been drawing this for, I'm not sure how long I've been drawing it for. You should spend at least 1 hour drawing this. Okay, so at least 1 hour you will take to draw this. Just keep in mind the ellipse and the scale of your objects, and remember the distortion of your object which is in the water. Don't just draw it going straight down into the water, because your object will distort. Okay, so there's a second chance to retry your homework. Take the feedback that I've given you for that homework and use these new techniques using a biro and your paper, and draw a bottle with an object inside it using biro.